hardest part is not the conversation itself. It's the days or moments before when you just can't stop overthinking about how it's going to turn out. So my best advice would be just do it. The sooner it ends, the better. Hi, I'm Paula, the girl that sits here every Tuesday to just talk about things that happen to all of us but that we don't talk about enough. And today I'm going to give you 5 steps so you can face those hard, uncomfortable, soul crushing, and nerve wracking conversations. Now, before we start, in case you're doubting if you should have these conversations or not, remember that talking things out is the healthiest and most mature way to solve any type of conflict. So if the person or people you want to talk to don't want to have this conversation, then I will invite you to rethink about the type of people you want to care for and be cared by in your life. There are 2 positions in which you might be when it comes to uncomfortable conversations. Either you are the person that wants to start the conversation, or someone told you they want to talk to you and you know it's going to be uncomfortable. So I'm going to start with the second one because there's really not much you can do in this case, but this might help with the anxiety. It doesn't matter how much you overthink, it's not going to change the outcome of the conversation. Remember, there are 2 outcomes to the conversation, a good one or a bad one. If it ends up alright, then all of your worries are for nothing. And if it doesn't end up alright, then you can start suffering after you know that it didn't end up alright. You don't need to start suffering now. And I know that you don't overthink or have anxiety on purpose, and knowing this won't suddenly cure your anxiety, but rationalizing your thoughts can help a lot. So just take a deep breath, try to distract yourself, and remember that if it hasn't happened yet, you don't have to go through it. Now, if you are the person who wants to initiate the uncomfortable or hard conversation, then here are the 5 steps you need to follow. Step 1, choose the right timing. I know that what you have to say it's important, but unless it's completely necessary for that person to know immediately, I'm pretty sure your conversation can wait for a right timing. For example, let's say you want to break up with someone, but this person is on their finals week in college. You're not going to break up with someone when they are in the middle of their exams, you know? And I know that whatever you have to say might be hard to postpone, but there are things that can wait just a little bit, so it's more comfortable for everybody involved. So make sure that you choose a right timing. And side note, don't tell someone you want to talk to them, or there's something you need to tell them, or you want to talk about something important if you're not going to tell them right away. This is just going to make the other person very anxious, and there is really no need to put someone in that spot. I'm pretty sure all of us have been in that situation and it just feels horrible, so please don't do it. Instead, you can tell someone when they're free to hang out, or maybe invite them to go grab a coffee, and then once you're with that person and once you're about to have the conversation, then you can tell them that you want to talk about something important. But don't tell them way before, because that's just gonna make them anxious. Step 2, make sure you know everything you want to tackle in the conversation. And I know you can't memorize or practice absolutely everything you want to say, especially because you don't know what the other person is going to say, but at least make sure that you know what are the things you want to talk about. That way there's a higher chance you feel completely satisfied when the conversation is over and you don't have this feeling that there were things left unsaid. And side note, if possible, try to be detailed with what you're telling to the other person. So, for example, let's say someone hurt you. Instead of saying, hey, you hurt me, you can say, hey, this particular thing you made me feel this way. That way, the other person has more information about how you're feeling, how the situation affected you, and why it's important to talk about it. Remember that other people cannot read your mind, and even if a situation was obviously uncomfortable for you, maybe it wasn't for the other person. So make sure that you actually put the other person in context and tell them everything. Don't assume they know because they probably don't. And step 3. Once you already know what things you want to include in the conversation, try and find ways in which you can speak over the conversation with kindness. So let me explain myself. It's important to not only know what you're gonna say, but also to know how you're gonna say it and create a safer environment for everyone involved. So, for example, instead of just going straight ahead and saying whatever you want to say, you can start by saying, I know this is uncomfortable or hard, but I also want to listen to what you have to say and find ways that we can sort this out together, or something like that. But the point here is that you create a safe environment so that all the people involved don't feel like they are cornered or in a completely hard position or even attacked. So, since conversation is already the best way to solve the conflict, why not make it something comfortable and more respectful for everyone involved? And step 4, try to think if in your case there's any solution you would like to have for your problem. So let's say, for example, that you want to tell someone that they hurt you. It's way more effective if you not only tell them that they hurt you, but if you also tell them what you would like them to do or change so that this situation doesn't happen again. But remember that you're not giving them orders. If you want to ask someone for a change in their behavior, you have to do it politely. So instead of saying, I want you to do this, you can say, hey, I don't know, for example, the joke you make the other day actually hurt me, and I would like if you could stop doing those type of jokes, or something like that. Don't make this change in behavior an obligation, but more of a request. And side note, remember that just because you don't like the way someone acts doesn't mean they should change their behavior. For example, let's say I'm an introverted and you are an extroverted. So I like to stay at home. I don't really like hanging out with many people, especially if I don't know them. But on the contrary, you love going outside and you love hanging out with people and just meeting new people and stuff like that. So you, as an extroverted, invite me to a party and I decline, and this makes you feel bad. I'm not declining because I don't like you or I don't want to go with you. I'm just declining because that thing you're asking me makes me feel very uncomfortable. So, for example, if you want to ask this person for a change in their behavior, you're actually asking them to simply put themselves in a very uncomfortable situation just because you want to. So, before asking someone for a change in their behavior, think, is this person hurting me, or do I feel hurt by the way this person exists in the world or by the way this person acts? And step 5, I know you feel nervous. I know this is something horrible to go through, but we have to sometimes. So just take a deep breath. Remember that you are doing the right thing because this is the healthier and most mature way to just solve conflicts, and go for it. You have it. And that's it for today. Remember that you are not alone. I send you a massive hug and see you next week.